Your low-carb diet is a lie. Bread, pasta, rice, they're not what's making you gain weight, but something much simpler. So it's time for me to debunk myths and tell you 3 truths about why carbs don't make you fat. I will tell you exactly how these people are able to build muscle, lose fat, and still look shredded by eating a bunch of carbs. Because if the villains are not carbs, what it is? But let's check the science of why carbs do not make you fat. Carbs don't make you fat because they are inherently bad. They make you gain weight when they're overconsumed. And the reason why they're so easy to overconsume is because they're everywhere. Breadsticks, bread baskets at restaurants, chips at parties, pastries at coffee shops. When people cut carbs, they always lose weight quickly. But here's the catch. Most of the early drop isn't actually fat, but glycogen and water. A 2015 study showed when calories and protein were controlled, fat loss was nearly identical between low-carb diets and low-fat diets. The difference was actually water weight. So why do people swear they feel better by cutting carbs? Here's the actual physiology. When you eat carb-heavy meal, think white bread, donuts, sugar snacks, your blood sugar spikes fast. That spikes drops quickly, which leads to even more cravings. This cycle makes people blame carbs when in reality it's the time and the context that actually matters. So what I'm trying to say is that cutting carbs completely or eating a better quality doesn't necessarily improve your cravings. The secret word here is the balance. Study shows that restricted diets often increase cravings because your brain obsesses over what is forbidden. Restriction itself increases food preoccupation and cravings, even more than the food time. If you go back to our protein video, where I told you that if you go to a supermarket in an empty stomach, you're not gonna buy broccoli, you're gonna buy chips. Because starving yourself from carbs will make you crave more carbs, according to the studies. But eating too much of that will also make you need even more. It's pretty much a drug addict paradox. The more drugs you have, the more drugs you need. But the least drugs you have access to, the more you crave for. And comment below rice, pasta, or bread so I can know what is your favorite carb, and I'm gonna comment a surprise for you down there. So here's the nuance. Carbs don't make you fat. Cutting them often works because you're simply eating fewer calories overall. And the cravings you blame carbs for, you're mostly about blood sugar spikes, ultra-processed food, and restriction psychologically. But not the rice in your lunchbox. In fact, rice, it's not even that bad. I don't know about you guys, but I love my rice. If you're trying to lose weight and it's eating cups and cups of rice for lunch, that's not realistic. Not because rice is bad, it's just because you're eating too much. Just subscribe if you like carbs. So if cutting carbs isn't the secret, who are the villains here? First one is gonna be hidden fats. Most people think they're always eating carbs and that's why they're gaining weight. But actually, most of the foods are unhealthy, like pizza, ice cream, and French fries. They do have carbs, but they have a huge amount fat. So what they're really eating, it's a combination of both. But here's the problem. When we go back to basic math, 1 gram of carb has 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. 1 gram of alcohol, yes, alcohol has calories, has 7 calories per gram. So mathematically speaking, cutting alcohol or fat would be way more efficient than cutting carbs. And if I was you, I would stick to the end because I'm gonna show you how these people and athletes are able to eat as much carbs as they want and still look shredded. Liquid calories with zero satiation. Think beer, wine, cocktails, sodas, all those are very high in sugar. But for the alcoholic drinks, you also have the calories from alcohol itself. And if you don't know, alcohol is basically fermented sugar. 1 gram of sugar has 4 calories, 1 gram of alcohol has 7. So now you have way more calories, 4 grams, just because you fermented this end product. Well, of course, no one drinks alcohol because they think it's healthy, but because they want to have fun. But hear me out. If you did perfectly in your diet and you're drinking twice a week, every single week, you probably won't lose weight because you're catching up all the calories from drinking all those drinks in the weekend. So by cutting off alcohol, you can pretty much solve most of your weight problem if you're already doing some tweaks and smart decisions on the other end. Overeating in general. There's a very interesting experiment made by Mark Hobb, who did a twink diet experiment. For 10 weeks, he ate mostly Twinkies and snack cakes, but in a caloric deficit, he lost 27 pounds. And the point here is to prove to you that at the end of the day, no matter how better good is your diet, eating less calories than you need will lead you to lose weight. It does not mean you're gonna be healthy. Cutting the rice out of your lunchbox isn't the answer, because will lead you to cravings and getting cookies and ice cream and fries and pizza later on. But balancing things out, because the truth primary word is consistency. And here's a myth debunked for you. Carbs after 6 actually make me fatter. While study shows that timing matters less than your total calories. Eating rice at night won't magically turn to fat, but eating excess calories at the end of the day will make you gain weight. We have been trying to grow as a community, and for that to happen, we need you to eat more carbs. No, I'm just joking. I just need you to click the subscribe button because we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers until the end of the year. Let's go back to the learning. And now I'm gonna tell you how can you eat as much carbs as you want and still look shredded. Because often I get the question, Mercier, how do I gain weight, lose fat, and still perform at the gym? I'm gonna give you a step-by-step right now. Just make quick notes, less than 2 minutes. Step number 1. Prioritize protein. We're doing a series of videos about nutrients, fats, carbs, protein, supplements like creatine. And if you haven't seen the first 2 videos, I recommend you to go back and watch it. Because the first rule here and the first step is prioritize protein. Protein preserves muscle and keeps you full. If you're not eating enough protein, the chances of you overeating from the things you don't eat are much higher. Step number 2, carbs around workouts. Make your structure for your intake. Getting a good amount of carbs before working out help you to have more energy to work out. But you also need quality carbs after. It's about adjusting properly when and how much to take. Yes, eating carbs after 6 does not make you fat, but does not mean you need to eat all the carbs that you have for the day after 6 o'clock, because the chances of you starving yourself throughout the day and actually overeating at night are much higher. Distributing throughout the day is a much better strategy. Step 3, watch fats plus alcohol. I'm not telling you to not eat fats, and I'm not telling you to cut it out fats. In fact, fats are one of the most underrated nutrients out there. We need fats to survive. They're essential. However, it's very easy to overconsume, especially the omega-6. And we're gonna talk more about that in the next video, which is about fats. And as I said before, with fats, watch for your alcohol intake. Can you drink alcohol and be shredded? Absolutely. It will be easier to not drink alcohol, so the solution here is reduce the alcohol intake or cut it off. It's not bringing you any good. And the last and most important step of this journey is consistency. Because even if you do 60, 70% good of 100% that you plan, but you do consistently for a very long period of time, you're gonna have more results than someone doing 100% over a week. In a study of 600 adults, both low carb and low fat groups lost weight. The difference, the people who stuck with their diet long term, regardless of carb intake, had a better result. So yes, your low carb diet, it's a lie. And I'm not saying low carbs diet do not work, but in the long run, it's not the best out there. Carbs aren't the villain. In fact, it's the fuel for athletes.
You don't have to worry about nutrition or about carbs because they're your main energy source, and you wouldn't like drive a Formula 1 car without any gasoline.
The villains are excess calories, hidden fats, and alcohol, combined with inconsistency. So subscribe if your favorite carb is pasta or rice.